Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, Butterfly Spirit 314. So guys, today I finally got my YouTube live stream to work. I've been trying to get to work for a while now. And what I wanted to do today, guys, is I want to talk to you guys about why you should not give 2 weeks notice. I'm going to talk about this from my perspective because I've been through a lot of bullying and abuse in my jobs. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to try to talk to you guys about it and let you know why, from my standpoint, I wouldn't give 2 weeks notice and why you shouldn't either. Okay. All right, guys. So I know I got my bonnet on today, but I kind of always do that to kind of protect my hair and things. I just got back from a walk. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So guys, the reason why you shouldn't give 2 weeks notice, and I'm talking specifically on a job where let's say you're not having the best experience. Okay. So, let's say you're being bullied in a job. Let's say you're being harassed on the job. Let's say you're just not having an overall good experience. Okay. So I've been through several jobs, and on my current job right now, things are going good so far, but I did have bullying that took place on my current job. I'm not going to really say where I work or anything, but I did have some bullying and harassment on my current job. So in my current job, am I going to say whether or not I give 2 weeks notice? I'm going to say that for a later time. But a previous job I worked for a bank. And when I got hired on the job, then I got hired by the branch manager named Jake, and then by a teller supervisor or operations supervisor named Nika. So they were two pretty good people, you know. The interview for me was pretty easy and stuff like that. They didn't ask me too many challenging questions or anything. And I got through it just fine. And I believe like a week from the interview, I got a call from the branch manager, Jake. And he asked, he said, can I start, the next Monday? It wasn't really negotiable or anything like that. But I decided to just kind of go for it because prior to that, I hadn't gotten any job offers. I had been looking for a job for like 5 years and I had not got a job offer. It didn't mean I wasn't looking for a job. It just meant that I didn't get any bites from any big companies. I interviewed, did well in a job, but the companies weren't looking for somebody like myself. They weren't looking for a Black woman who was college educated like myself, who had a really good track record, good references and things. They were looking for white, either white male or, white woman, my same age bracket, who didn't have as much experience as myself. So it wasn't that I didn't have the experience or I didn't have the backing, because I had a really great track record, worked for some good companies, but they just were not looking for somebody like myself. So with the job with the bank I worked for, I got the job. I started the next Monday. And to my knowledge, my first day I thought was going to be part-time. So I thought I was going to be working like 4 hours or something like that just to get started. I didn't think I was going to work 8 hours, but as it turned out, I worked a full day, 8 hours. And what I found out was that I would be working 3 days a week for 8 hours to get me to like 24 hours or something like that. Turned into like 28 to like 30 hours or something like that. But, well, no, it turned into like, yeah, it was more like 24 to like 30 hours or something like that to keep me a part-time. So the branch manager, Jake, when I first got there on my first day, he kind of seemed like he was trying to, kind of scare me a little bit. But he was an overall nice guy. I have to tell you, he was really nice. I later found out that he was gay, but, I didn't put that past him or anything like that. He was still a nice, wonderful person. He was willing to, train me on stuff or have the operations supervisor to train me. So that was overall really good. And I really, really liked that. So what happened where I was being bullied was not by the branch manager, Jake, or operations manager, Nika. It wasn't by them. What happened is like 9 months into me having the job, things were going pretty well. I enjoyed coming to work, doing my job and stuff. I really learned a lot more about being a teller in that job than I did in other jobs that I had as a teller. So, what happened, is that 9 months into it, what I found out is Jake came in and Nika, she was there. There was a personal banker, Beth, she was there. And the teller that I worked with, Elizabeth, she was there and stuff. And what happened is I found out 9 months into the job that Jake, the branch manager, was leaving. And he was really fed up with, being the branch manager and stuff like that. And he ended up leaving. And there was like a 3-month gap, I think, where he was gone. And I was working under the operations supervisor. She was basically somebody who managed me and Elizabeth, the other teller. And, that time in between where there wasn't a manager is pretty cool. It was kind of the same as Jake being there, really. And the only thing was I just didn't see him or anything. And after the 3-month period, then a new manager came into the role. I found out that this manager was coming from another branch, and basically she was coming from a branch where they had to have bars on the windows and everything like that, and that branch had been robbed like several times. I'm thinking like maybe 9 or 10 times the place was robbed. And me hearing that about the new manager, I was like, seriously? So the branch I worked from, it was a really nice branch that I worked from, and it was a branch basically where, in a white neighborhood, good area, wealthy people lived in the area and stuff like that. And actually, it was the same city that I went to college in. So that was the really cool thing about it. So new manager, I'm going to tell you the day that she came in. I didn't even know she was the manager. What happened is that I saw a white lady come in. She was chunky, and she was short and chunky, and she wore glasses. She had her hair cut short. I guess you would call that in kind of like a more hair than a pixie cut, I guess. And I didn't even know she was the manager because this lady came in, white lady, who wore glasses, and she was sitting there for an awful long time. And I was sitting behind the desk and things like that. And I asked the lady, I said, hey, do you need any help? She said, no, I'm fine. And she just kind of sat next to the window. And so I was like, okay, maybe she's here for a meeting with a financial advisor. Maybe she needs help with her accounts or something like that for a loan or whatever. So eventually the lady went to the back, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just kind of thought, oh, she has a meeting with a financial advisor. Maybe she needs a mortgage or something. Okay. So turns out, the lady didn't come back. She just kind of went to the back and stuff. And, I didn't see her again. And then what happened is that the next day I found out that this same lady who acted like she didn't say what she was there for or anything and just kind of seemed kind of standoffish, she was the new manager. And, I was kind of taken aback that she was the new manager. I was like, are you serious? This lady who didn't want to talk is the manager? Seriously? So, what happened is that impression of me and her, I kind of knew we wasn't going to get along. I really did, but I tried to hold out hope. My gut was telling me she wasn't anybody to get along with, but, I still tried to be nice and professional, even though. So I find out she is a new manager. And what happens is I guess we have kind of an informal meeting. It's me, Beth, the personal banker, Nika, the operations supervisor, the new branch manager, Sarah, and then it's Elizabeth and me, basically. That's all of us that was there. Everybody except me was white, but I've been treated good. So I was like, I ain't got to worry about anything. What I did not know is that the manager, Sarah, that came in, I did not know she was going to make everybody's life there a living hell. Okay. So what happened is that I found out that me and the other people that worked at the branch that I did were going to be rotating between the branch that we worked at and a new branch. Okay. And I was kind of taken aback by that, but I was like, oh, well, I was hired to work here, so I didn't think anything about, going to the other location. So, like one by one, we kind of, went to the new branch. Me and Elizabeth were kind of the last two people, to go to the branch. And the day that I worked at the other branch, there was this lady there. Her name was Kim. She was a really nice lady. I was kind of standoffish because I was like, well, I'm probably going to only work here one time. So the time that I did work there, when I was standoffish, Kim was really nice. She could kind of tell that I was kind of, used to doing my own thing, being my own branch and stuff. And as luck would have it, I ended up, rotating between the branch I was hired at and that branch for a few times. And then I found out that I was the new employee that was going to be working at that branch along with Kim. And Kim, she was really nice lady. She had, been working at the branch for a long time and stuff. And she was somebody who had to kind of figure out stuff, She didn't have, a manager coming over to her and telling her anything. The last manager that was there, it left. And, she really knew the customers and was really nice to them, And, I kind of found my way of working there. And the thing about that branch is normally at the branch I was hired at, I work 9 to like 5 or whatever. I think it was like, about 9 to like 5. Okay. And like I said, I worked there 3 days a week and for like 8 hours. And what happened is that at the new branch, this branch opened later. So this branch opened at about, I'm going to say it was open from about, I'm going to say like, it was closes at 6. So the branch opened at about, I believe like 11 o'clock or something like that. Since Kim was full time and she worked, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, then she would be the person who would open the branch. So, I kind of got used to Kim and, we'd have our talks and stuff like that, just, as employees and stuff. And I kind of grew to like Kim. I really grew to like her. And, before I had settled in the branch, there was a girl that worked there before. Her name was Fallon. And she was a black girl, black girl. She was lighter skinned than I was. And she had a short haircut, closer to her head. And Fallon was really cool. She was awesome. Fallon was kind of at the job for a short time because I was introduced to her at a meeting, amongst other people. And Fallon worked there for like maybe 3 months and then she left because the manager, Sarah, left a racist email in her email box because, Fallon had got all these sales with clients that were at the branch. And, the manager thought it was a great idea to be racist. So needless to say, after Fallon being there about 3 months, she ended up leaving. Another reason she left was because the manager, Sarah, made everybody come to a meeting without even considering anybody's schedules. So what she would do is just say, oh, we're having a meeting, like it'll be Thursday. She'll say, oh, we're having a meeting on Friday and, after work. And she didn't even ask anybody. She just, make the meeting at that time. And she said, oh, it's mandatory. So you have to come to the meeting, And she went so far as to even tell people who had kids, she told them to bring their kids to the meeting. Okay. And luckily I didn't have kids, no offense to people who do, but she made people with kids bring their kids. Okay. And I think that people found it uncomfortable. And also they found it uncomfortable because the new manager, Sarah, she would find it where she would wait until the absolute latest time on a Friday before we're about to walk out the door, before she would hand out the schedules. Okay. And, I didn't mind it so much that I wasn't, at the place where I was hired at, because I was like, you know what, it's cool being over here with Kim. There was this guy that would come by to the branch because the branch was in a store. It was in like a Deerbergs. That's like a grocery store where I live. And, we were in a Deerbergs and we were in one of those banks at Deerbergs. And, this janitor guy, Ken, who worked for Deerbergs, he'd come by and, he seemed to really like his job. He was a janitor, but, he stopped by and see me and Kim. He liked me, but I didn't really like him. But, eventually I told him, hey, I'm in a relationship. I'm engaged to this other guy. But, Ken still stopped by and stuff. He was the darker skinned black dude and stuff. He was cool, And, Ken did not like how, the branch manager was treating Kim or me. He really didn't like that, And actually, the customers started to notice too, because, the customers were complaining about the hours of the branch, because at first they were longer, 9 to 6 or whatever, or like 10 to 6. But then they got shorter and people really did not like it. So we'd have to tell the customers the new hours and stuff. And they say, oh, it doesn't work with me, But the customers worked with it because of Kim. Okay. So Kim, she was really cool. But things changed once, Fallon left, Kim left, things changed. Kim decided to take on another job with another bank because she was like, well, this job is too stressful and is, they're not paying me anything at all, you know what I'm saying, to really, do her job. So, Kim kept having to learn things and everything else, but she just got fed up with the manager and how he was being treated. And I think one day really sealed it for Kim. One thing is that one day me and Kim were working at the branch. And I come in, after Kim and stuff like that. And I really like doing stuff with Kim, like, counting the money in the vault and, doing paperwork and, just being able to do my learnings online, like for the bank and stuff. I really liked doing it. And I like working with Kim because we kind of understood each other, And when, when the manager wasn't there, we can kind of talk about the manager. Now, of course, the manager is creepy. And she would get on the camera and she'd say, oh, well, I can see you guys at the branch, da, 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 da. And I'm like, why are you unnecessarily doing that? The camera is there so that, if, in case of emergency, something happens, you guys can play the camera back. Okay. I was at my wit's end with that manager because she went off on me in front of the customers. And that was the day I was ready to leave. But you know what? I stayed because I didn't want to give up and let Kim just be there by herself. You know what I mean? So what ended up happening was I just stayed there. I confided in this representative human resources, Kevin, that I, met, once, like, met when I found out that I was going to be, given the job as teller or banking specialist. So what happened is that the guy in human resources that I knew that said he had my best interest at heart and stuff, after the manager went off on me, what happened is I went ahead and I, tried to leave him a message. He didn't answer. Normally he'd answer the phone, but he was in a meeting. He called me back a couple hours later. I was ready to just leave. You get what I'm saying? But Kevin called me back. I told him the situation and stuff, and he tried to calm me down. He said, oh, well, just work the rest of the day and stuff and just kind of, just try to work the whole day and stuff, and then, think it over and stuff. And I was like, what is there to think over? She just went off on me in front of customers. And she didn't use no curse words, but what she did do was she took it upon herself to, make me feel like, I'm a less than valued employee. And I'm like, Jake never did that to me at all. So, Kevin, I guess, talked to Sarah and nothing was ever done about it. And that made me upset immensely. Talked to Kim about it. Kim, she was like, oh, that's not fair. They shouldn't do that. And, customers that heard about what happened and they didn't like that happened to me either. And they got used to me being there because I was a new face and they was like, oh, well, she's here, we'll be taken care of. So, with that, I was ready to leave. Kim and me, this kind of was one of the things that kind of got us think about leaving too, was the fact that me and Kim were working at the branch. I know I was going to allude to this, but here's what was happening. So this is another occasion. Me and Kim were working at the branch. There was a forecast that said that it was going to snow and it was going to be a really bad snow, several inches of snow, at least like maybe 10 or so or whatever. Where I live, that's a lot of snow. Okay. And if you know it's going to snow, it's a good idea for you to, either you don't go to work or you try to get off work early. So I didn't want to leave Kim alone by herself. So what happened is that I went in and then, I talked to Kim about the weather. Kim said, oh yeah, it's going to be snowing and stuff. And I was like, yeah, maybe we should try to get off early. She was like, yeah, she agreed with me and stuff. And so what happened is when it got to about, I'm going to say about 1 o'clock, I start, sending the manager a email and said, hey, it's supposed to be snowing and stuff. And, me and Kim are wanting to get home before it gets to be a blizzard and stuff, and we'll be stuck here. And so what happened is the manager said, oh, we'll check on it. I emailed the operations supervisor, Nika, and I was like, hey, well, what's the situation? Sarah's not really saying nothing. What's going on? And she was like, oh, well, we have to see. We had to get approval from, the people at the top to let you guys go and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, at least that's more than what the hell Sarah told me. So, another hour went by, kind of checked in with Nika, and, she was like, oh, nothing yet. Checked in with Beth because she was the personal banker, and she was kind of trying to talk to Sarah to try to get us, to leave and stuff. And so 2 o'clock goes by, it's 3. Okay. 3 o'clock goes by, it's 4. I'm kind of still checking with people and stuff. And Sarah then sent me a message around like 4 saying, oh, we're still checking and stuff. Next email I get is that Sarah sends me and Kim an email that says, oh, well, we're leaving for the day. Somebody will email you guys when you guys can leave. And I was like, but you're the branch manager, though. You couldn't talk to the people at the top and tell them, hey, you got 2 employees that need to leave at the same time y'all are leaving, right? So turns out they went home. No problem. They went home, got home safe. So it was Nika, Beth, and Sarah. They went home, got home fine. I think what happened is Elizabeth, I think she was off that day because she had to do something with her son. So me and Kim, we're just waiting on word, got our stuff ready to leave and everything. And what happened is that they didn't tell us until like 5:30, 30 minutes before the branch closed that we can leave. All right. So me and Kim, we have to lock up. We have to count the bulk. We have to, take our drawers out and everything, make sure everything's locked up tight and things. And, that took me and Kim probably about 15 minutes. So it was about 5:45 before we left. So after 5:45, what happened is me and Kim walked out. I think it was, I had to get, I was in a grocery store, so I was like, oh, let me just get a couple of things, so that I don't have to drive anywhere. And my fiance, when I get home, we don't have to be hungry. We'll already have some food. So I think I grabbed some pizza or something. And I guess a couple of other items. So I walk out. And when I walk outside, I was not paying attention to what was going on. But by this time, Kim had already left. And so what happened is that there's snow, like there's not really much snow in the parking lot, right? It's a little bit of snow, but I was able to get in the car, start my car and everything. And when I go to turn out, so I get to the end of the lot. At the end of the lot, there's like this light, okay? And I waited for the light to turn green. When this light turned green, I am kidding you not, when I got on the road, turn left, got on the road, main road, okay? Main road is called Big Bend. When I get on this road, this stuff goes from bad to worse. There is snow packed up and slippery, but I managed to get through a few stoplights to another stoplight that's next to us. That's another grocery store. And I am telling you, it went from being clear to like being like, it being really dark. It was like a copper color and there was snow and stuff. And, I was trying to make it, through that light. And I'm telling you, I couldn't even get through the light. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just stop off here, and that didn't work. I ended up getting back on the main road. And I'm telling you, it was so hard to get home. Like it took me, I left like 5:45. All right. I didn't get home until like 9 is when I got home. Okay. It was so hard for me to get home. I was in my little heels, right? In my business casual. I had on the dress and stuff. And, I had on my probably a sweater, black sweater. I have a sweater vest. But other than that, I did not get let go from work early enough. Now, granted, I did shop for a couple of things so I wouldn't have to go anywhere when I got home. But I'm telling you, it was so hard to get home. I could not get up the hill, and I was having to turn around, go other ways and stuff like that, getting stuck and things like that. And it was just horrible. Like, I'm so serious, because I lived up a hill, downhill stuff, and it was terrible, and I'm not just saying that I tried the main way to go home. I tried so many ways, and I still did not get home. So when I got home, luckily my fiance was able to come to me, because I wasn't able to drive like where my house was. What I had to do was park down the hill from where my house was. I had to walk for like 15 minutes to get home. Okay. And I'm telling you, I'm wearing heels. Okay. Luckily there were some more shoes in there, but in my car, but other than that, I was kind of off to my own, you know what I mean? It was horrible. You know what I mean? When I got home, with my fiance, luckily he had walked me home. What happened is that, actually, no, he didn't walk me home. I walked home myself. And, I told him, hey, well, I'm parking right here and stuff. And then, made it home. He was waiting on me. And he was like, wow, it took forever for you to get home. I was like, yeah. And I told my fiance the whole story. And he's like, I know you're mad. I'm like, yeah, I am. So to teach the manager a lesson the next day, I think the next day was like a Friday or something. So you know what I did? I took that next day off. And you know why I took that day off? Because that manager made me go through all that grief and stuff. And that's how much she didn't like me. Kim had made it home. So Kim made it home. Sarah made it home. Nika made it home. Beth made it home. Elizabeth was already home, right? I was the only person that didn't make it home. So the next day I said, oh, you know what? I'm not feeling well, so I'm not coming in today. The manager was so mad, trying to come up with a reason of why I should come in. I said, well, I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling well. I had to walk all the way home and go through what I went through. And I'm like, I'm not feeling well. So I took that day off. So I had a long weekend and stuff, right? And, I took the day off because it was the manager's fault, okay? It was her fault that I went through what I did. So I took the day off, chill and everything. It was a good day. You know what I mean? And I enjoyed it, okay? So the reason I tell you this long story about that particular day with that snowstorm and me not getting home is to tell you the reason you should not give 2 weeks notice to a job, okay? And I'm going to wrap the job part up and then I'm going to tell you. So the reason why I started looking for another job after Kim left was because what was the point of me staying around? What was the point? I mean, if it's just me there, then, the manager's going to try to, work over there with me, which she did a couple of times after Kim left. And it was so weird to be working over there by myself and stuff like that with the manager. It was creepy. But, luckily, Nika got to work over there with me and Beth got to work over there with me. And I loved when that was the case because work with the manager was freaking creepy. Okay. So the manager, good thing, she worked in the office. I worked out in front. So that was good when she was there. So I started looking for another job after Kim left because I was like, this is horrible. And this is not the only job I've had. This is just the previous one to my current job. But the reason why I'm going to tell you not to put in 2 weeks notice because of a job like the one I had was because, number one reason why you don't give 2 weeks is because the manager I had, Sarah, was bullying everybody and harassing everybody, okay? I told you about Fallon, how she sent Fallon a racist email. After that, Fallon quit. She wasn't staying around. She didn't give 2 weeks notice, okay? If you're having somebody racially harass you, what's the point of giving 2 weeks notice? You should not give 2 weeks notice because if they send you a racist email, what else are they going to try to do to you, okay? So Reason one to leave a job and not give a 2 weeks notice, racist emails. Okay. Another reason to leave a job is if a manager is coming up with meetings and not considering anybody. That's another reason not to give 2 weeks notice. Another reason not to give 2 weeks notice is because if a manager goes off in front of you and nothing happens to them and HR says, throws their hands up and just gives them the reason, oh, they can do this, nothing's going to happen to them, and the manager feels invincible, that is another reason to leave, okay? If a manager is looking at you through a camera and saying, oh, I see you and stuff like that, multiple times when you're not even doing nothing, the camera's there to, there in case of emergency, in case the branch gets robbed. At no point in time did that branch get robbed when I was there. And she had no reason to be on that camera, And I told, Kevin and HR about this. Nothing happened, right? It's important to start looking for a job when you have all this stuff happening and everybody's being abused and stuff like that. And I'm going to tell you this right here. What happened before I left was Elizabeth, she quit before I left. Because I told her, I said, hey, I'm going to be, I said, hey, you got to watch out for yourself. I didn't tell her I was leaving. I didn't tell anybody I was leaving. The only person who knew I was going to leave was Kim. That's the only person that kind of knew. But that was it. The reason you don't give 2 weeks notice overall is if you're being harassed, if you're being bullied by a manager or anything like that. Because if a manager knows that you got another job and you put in 2 weeks notice, they are going to bully and abuse you. And they're going to take the initiative to be over that branch when you're doing the 2 weeks that you're working there. And a lot of times managers will do this just to get rid of you. So they won't let you be there for the 2 weeks. They will harass you and bully you and make you want to leave before the time. Okay. Now, my current job, there is this girl that's leaving because we have a manager that's less than desired. Okay. And she's leaving because she's stressed out from the job. She can't deal with the job, right? And if you're stressed out and when you leave the job, you got to keep thinking about it, you should leave the job, okay? Definitely leave the job, right? So you don't want to stay in a job, okay? Because if you leave the job, you'll feel so much better, okay? So let's go over this again. Number one reason to leave a job is if you have a manager who's not considering you or anybody on your team. Another reason is if the manager is personally bullying you and harassing you. Third reason to leave a job is if it doesn't go along with your work-life balance. So if you have kids, or let's say, you're married and you have a significant other and you're not able to do things that you guys want to do because the job is making it impossible, you want to leave the job. If you have kids and you can't go to parent-teacher conferences, or in this time with COVID, you can't, you have to work from home and the job's not letting you do that, leave the job, okay? If you have, if you have customers who, who you work with, you help them with their accounts, and you're there because of them, and you have no other reason to be there, you should think about leaving the job. But you shouldn't just quit the job. You should find another job, and then once you get accepted into that job and given the offer, and then they give you a start date, then, you can take your time and you can decide whether or not you want to stay in, how long you want to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Because if they tell you, okay, can you start this day? You want to at least get a full check before you leave. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got, a house and things like that you're handling and you got a whole bunch of expenses. Okay. Leaving jobs, I would say try to get another job first. Don't just quit. If the job fires you, that's a good thing because you can collect unemployment. That's the good thing. You can collect unemployment as long as you've been there over a year, you can collect unemployment. Okay. So I say, if you have a tough situation with a tough manager, try to work your best. Try to do everything you can. Try to do everything you can so that, you say, oh, I tried everything before I left. And my last option was, to leave the job. And when you're in a tough job with a tough manager, I'm not saying tough, when you're with an unbearable manager, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. So you might as well be looking for another job why you can do it. It's best to really leave a job, at least be there over a year. If you can get to 2 years, awesome, and then you get another job, cool, then do that. Try everything. Try talking to people. Don't talk to, directly to the manager, but try talking to other people and seeing what other options there are for you. If you're being sexually harassed, you have every reason to leave that job. If you're being sexually harassed or physically harassed, or if you're being stalked by a manager, you have every reason to do that. Stalking through, I say, the manager I had, she was stalking us through the camera. But I still continued to keep the job because I at least wanted to leave on a good note. And I'm going to tell you how I quit the job that I had. I quit the job basically one day by calling the, operations manager and telling her, hey, I'm leaving the job. I'm leaving. This job's over for me. I got another job, and I'll be starting this job, at some point, and it's been real. You know what I mean? So, I didn't give 2 weeks because I knew if I gave 2 weeks, that manager would have took it upon herself to be that branch, bother me all the time, and it would not have been good. Okay. So, I just quit on a specific day, and you know what? That other job was going to be starting at some point. So, it was going to be starting 2 weeks from that point. So I was like, okay, I get 2 weeks apiece. And I sure did. I watched videos. I was watching TV. I was going to the park. I was doing whatever the hell I wanted to do before my new job started. So you shouldn't give 2 weeks if it's a bad situation, because the manager you have or coworker you have or situation that you have at the job is only going to get worse. You do want to give 2 weeks if you work with people, you can trust the people, your manager's cool with you and stuff like that. It's bittersweet to leave a job that you've gotten used to being at, but sometimes, you have to leave to move on to a better opportunity. You know what I mean? And when you're looking for a job and you're going through interviews, that's what you want to say. If you got a great situation, you say, why leave? Well, because you want to leave because of growth. You may want to leave because you have to, move to another state that you've been wanting to go to. You want to leave a job because you want to grow in responsibility. A lot of times that's why you want to leave a job, is because of that. And you don't want to stay at the same amount of pay. You want to get more pay. You know what I'm saying? If you can get $7 or $10 more in pay, why shouldn't you? And that's what my current job has been yielding for me. And it's allowed me to make different moves that I wasn't able to make with my previous job. So I was a little iffy about having a full-time job, but I had good experiences with full-time jobs and stuff. So, I thought it was good to just quit the job how I did. No, I didn't get unemployment, but I had another job starting in 2 weeks from that point. So that's pretty much how that went. I have other job experiences too. That was not my first job. I know people may say, "Oh, was that your first job? You should have stayed in it." I stayed in the job over a year. I think I was there almost like a year, and I was up there a year going on year and 7 months. So the job I've been in right now, I'm coming close to 2 years. So, if something comes along that, pays me more money and stuff, yeah, I'm going to be, moving on. I mean, people in my current job have moved on, but, you should never be in a job where you feel like less than or anything else. You shouldn't be. If you got to pay your bills, I understand, but stay in it until you find something else that is better. Okay. So I was only speaking from one job experience. I have other experiences that I can talk about, but I thought that was the most prevalent that I could talk about because it really was something where I could say, hey, well, you know what? That job just did not fit. But, as my current job, something I'm going to be in forever, not necessarily, because something may come along that's better. Since I'm helping take care of my dad and I have FMLA, something else may fit better than what I currently have. So we'll see what happens, but thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Feel free to comment, and I'm here to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.